Well, this time I'm in front of some friends. Well, the cows have a bad rap when it comes to environment. Personally, I love cows, but it's a good opportunity to talk a little bit about the evolution of agriculture and where it should go from here. If you look back in time, basically the farms were all mixed. You know, the farmers were producing some crops, they were using some other crops on themselves, they were using crops for their animals, and they were also using crops that they would sell on the market. And they were feeding their animals that were staying on the farms, so the animals would eat, they would produce, milk, meat or eggs, and they would produce also manure. And what was coming out of the animals would be brought back on the land of the farm directly, and so it was a very circular system. When agriculture started to industrialize and modernize, what we have seen is a lot of the farms decided to specialize, and some decided to specialize on crops, and they eliminated the animals from there, and they were producing larger volumes. They were sending feed far away sometimes, and at the same time what we had also some farms that specialized in animal production, so they had basically removed a lot of the land, and they had production of meat, of milk, of eggs, you name it, and also producing a lot of manure, but unfortunately not a lot of land to put it back on. And so basically in that system what happened is we opened the loops.
When we open the loops, we don't create just one problem. Of course, we deplete the resources, and with what we produce, transform, ship, sell, and waste, we also accumulate in the environment. It can be solids if we send trash to the landfill, but it can be also gases, can be molecules back in the environment. So what we need to do for the future is to replenish, to renew, and regenerate the resources.
And this is the whole story. Basically, we need to rethink the way we do things. We have to go back to more circular systems, just to be in line with what Mother Nature does. If you look at most of our activities, well, let's take accounting, for instance. We always look at it more from a linear manner. It's a short period of time, so it's focused on the short term, and there are some snapshots. Usually by the end of the year, by December 31st, we take a snapshot and we move things around that looks good, but maybe on January 1st it's totally different. Mother Nature's accounting would be, instead of snapshots, basically having a movie that's ongoing. There is no start, there is no end, and it's just constantly moving and on a loop. And we really need to work toward this in the future. There is not a possibility to talk seriously about sustainability without talking about closing the loops. There is no other possibility to talk about sustainability by talking about something else that I rarely hear, and yet I talk a lot about it. Is what's called externalities. What is the long-term cost? In terms of linear accounting, what we do, we basically postpone those long-term costs. We don't include them in our production cost, and that's why we may produce something that seems cheap on the short term anyway, but on the long term the costs are high. Mother Nature does this. Constantly reintroduces those costs, internalizes those costs, and we need to do that as well if we want to have a strong agriculture for the future.